broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to our after show for Astronaut Live Club. Tonight we are covering episode 6, In the Blind. And there was a lot of blindness going on tonight, I feel like. I'm your host, April Wissenhand. Tonight I have my lovely panel, of course, Khalil Boo Boo.
Hi, Khalil Boo Boo here.
Hey Cates. And we have a very special guest, Dana Gourrier, welcoming us.
Hi guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Good, me too. I'm excited.
I've got the best seat in the house.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
As always, you can find us all on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube at AfterBuzz TV. I am at April Wissenhand.
Khalil Boo Boo I do that every time. Khalil, on Twitter and on Instagram at Khalil Boo Boo.
And I'm at Sterling Cates.
I am at Dana Gourrier, spelled Gourrier.
Right there below your screen. So we are so excited to have you here tonight for sure. And we met your character, Antoinette Gibbs.
Yeah.
How was so you're on four total episodes, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 5, but we had some schedule conflicts for that last one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Antoinette's great. She's cool.
She is.
She's a mom, you know. She's doing her job. She's
I love
doing her
moms.
thing. Don't you love moms?
Moms are great.
Moms are cool.
Yeah.
And her son Xavier is so cute too.
Oh, he's so great. Yeah.
One of the things we love the most about covering this show is that it's a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like you just being on set with the characters and researching for this role?
I love period pieces, first of all. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with Jane Austen novels that are turned into films and et cetera, things like that. It was really amazing to work with costuming and makeup. I don't know if you guys noticed, but those lips always pop in like every episode, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a show about eyelashes, right? It's like, you know. But the wardrobe was just, it was phenomenal, I think, all around. And it makes it so easy to do your job when you're, you know, in the proper costuming and you know it's period, even down to the undergarments that are like touching your skin. Like, it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now, something we've talked about on just about every after show is that we love how they really go into like the social issues that are happening during this period and not just, you know, oh, it's all about space. And so your character tonight we see is she's the mom of Xavier.
That's right.
And he wants to be an astronaut, and we're introduced to a character named Edward Dwight, Captain Dwight.
Captain Dwight, yes.
And there's a big thing with him because he has been working toward being an astronaut for forever and just hasn't been picked largely because of his race. And he's African American. And what is it kind of, how do you really get yourself into a character that covers that kind of stuff without like feeling it too much at the same time, if that makes sense? Well, because when we watch it, it like affects, I mean, we didn't grow up in that time, and it affects you because it's something we still go through today. So I feel like you kind of, it's hard not to get into it, like to feel it too much.
I mean, I think the best approach as it relates to acting in regards to anything is just be honest. So if you feel some kind of way about something, feel that way and use it as a tool and as a way to access how you're what your character is going through, etc. Ellison is a young man's name that played Xavier, and he was so great. He was spot on with his sort of stoic nature about, I'm not buying the hype, mom. You know what I mean? And which is why he says later in the episode, see, mom, I told you.
Yeah.
And I think Antoinette's whole vibe is like, no, there's hope. You know, we still have Dr. King. We still have this. We have the civil rights movement. No more Jim Crow, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like there's this sort of sense of hope in her for her son and for his future.
Yeah.
And in episode 102, there's a moment where Antoinette says to Gus Grissom and Betty Grissom, I'm not too keen on him being an astronaut, not because she doesn't think that he can't do it. She wants her son to be able to do whatever, anything he wants, but more because it's dangerous to her. But I think I think it's silly to not, silly's not the word, I don't think it's forward thinking to ignore how you're feeling about something, especially if the issues are right there in our face. Because we're still dealing with things. It's a work in progress, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy that they show those moments and not just like, oh, everything's so like hunky
peachy keen,
hunky dory all the time, because it really isn't. And we left off last week's episode with them saying the president's been shot, and then we open up 8 months later, I think, is what
which I found interesting.
I was expecting more of a response in this episode, based on how we ended last week.
Right. I think Stephanie Savage, our creator, and Lily Couple, our writer who wrote, the Astronaut Wives Club book. I think they're brilliant women, and I think the writers on the show are all extraordinary. I'm not going to lie to you, though, as an audience member, I missed that moment. I wanted to see more about JFK because it was such a huge thing for our parents' generation and for that time. Like, there were people crying in the streets. Like, to this day, you can ask anyone of that generation, they'll remember where they were, what time of day it was, what they were doing. Sometimes they can even remember what they were wearing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just the same thing with Martin Luther King. And even if we're going to make it, I'll give you a smaller example, like...
Michael Jackson.
To make it more pop, you know what I mean? Like, not so political. But, like, I remember where I was when I found out when Michael Jackson died. I was like, what? Pull the car over. You know what I mean?
I was driving, too.
I was driving on the interstate. Not that it's a laughing matter, but you're right, just like you're heartbroken, and those kinds of moments, they kind of stay frozen in you, and then you're like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so.
I was slightly disappointed by the same thing, only because we have talked about how him starting the space race for America and everything a lot in the show, but at the same time, I guess you can't you have to put the focus on your characters.
Yeah.
So it gives.
And we only have so many episodes left.
I was going to say that, and there's so much time, and there's so many criteria.
Because he could have his own show, really.
They have a lot to cover in, what is it? Well, 3 more episodes.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, not to 4 more episodes.
This is 6.
This is episode 6. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not to talk about predictions, but we still have to talk about. We still have to talk about MLK and everything. That's a huge part of it. So, I mean, I guess there is a lot to talk about. But kind of on that note, let's start off with Annie and Rene tonight. I kind of put their storylines together because, they become
their friendship is so cute. I love their friendship.
And you said they're was that who you were talking about? They're actually, no, you weren't talking about them. You were talking about Betty and Gus.
I made that comment about
Betty,
Joel, and Joanna.
Oh,
they're actually just wonderful human beings.
Yeah. Annie and Rene's friendship has been one of our favorite things on the show, just because I feel like they're not expected to be friends because they're so different.
And don't you love that when you feel like you have it all figured out, and then they throw a little curveball at you? I love that.
Oh yeah. And so we open up with Annie kind of introducing Rene, and she's a big part of John's race for senator. And since Annie says, my name is Annie Glenn and I have a stutter. Here's Rene.
But that takes a lot for her to even get up there and say that.
It does.
Oh yeah.
But that was a smart move, though.
Right.
As far as just putting it out there.
Yeah. And so Rene is kind of really into this, and you can tell that she's moved by speaking to the audiences. But things kind of go awry a little later in the episode, and John gets hurt. He gets a concussion from
he slipped in the tub.
cabinet.
I think is historically what actually happened. He slipped in the bathtub and sustained a really bad concussion. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
As we were watching,
but he was later.
Later a senator.
Yeah, he was later. He ran again. It was 10 years later or something like that.
That's one of those things you hear and that didn't really happen.
Right. It's did he really fall in the tub?
It's one of those excuses that people actually have done something else.
That's something I would do. I would fall in the tub.
can't come to work today. I fell in the tub.
He lost his job, poor thing. I'm not gonna lie, no shame. I was Googling it during the episode to be like, was John Glenn ever a senator? Which is kind of a spoiler because I wanted to know.
Right. Oh, it is kind of, huh?
Spoiler.
Sorry.
But so he gets hurt. They think it's just kind of like a mild concussion. But Rene, that he's going to miss a speech. But Rene kind of says, well, I'll do it. I know the whole speech. And I really like seeing her character kind of step up and really step into what she wants to do.
I feel like that she wanted it, though. I feel like she wants to, like, not, so to speak, spotlight, but she just wants to be doing something and be useful and showing people she's smart.
And for something.
Exactly.
And especially after the whole situation with the creepy guy, the creepy editor.
Guy, it was like 20 articles.
Right,
20 articles.
And she is very intelligent, and this is a great opportunity for her to use those skills and something that she's actually really passionate about.
Yeah. I thought, kind of like not knowing how that specific situation went historically, I thought like, oh my gosh, Rene is going to try and take over John's campaign.
You know what's so funny? While I was watching, and I was like, she should run. Like,
Exactly.
Or like people are going to start like shouting her name instead of John's.
And then it's going to be trouble.
No. But that's what she up on us.
I would have voted for her, for sure.
Just
she's
for her
great.
dresses, for sure. But so we learn that things are kind of a little more serious with John, and basically that he's going to have to drop out of the race. So Scott, Rene's husband, of course, he has told her a couple weeks before, a few days prior to this, that he doesn't want to be an astronaut anymore. He wants to do research on the ocean. He's created a sea lab type thing. And they'll be moving to Bermuda. And so this is whenever we see him tell her this, she's kind of, you can tell she's not really excited about it because she's kind of like discovering what she wants to do.
I mean, it's great to move to Bermuda, but after you've already accomplished the things that you want to accomplish, and she hasn't really had the opportunity to do any of it.
Well, from his perspective, though, like, I went to space.
Yeah.
What else is there? Like,
Leon and I have apparently been to space every week.
Yeah, we go every week.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't been, it's like once you do it.
Well, I mean, she also just got a
Everything
taste.
else
She
pales
also
in
is just
comparison.
getting a taste of what she enjoys doing. So at that time in her life, to have to just pick up everything and forget about it.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, we just relocated. I've got my girls, and I've finally really developed these relationships with them.
Right.
And now I'm like, I want to be a career woman. So I kind of understand where she's coming from, you know. The kind of moving around. Paradise does sound amazing.
Yeah,
though.
right?
Yeah.
I said when we were reviewing, I was like, I would have already been on the plane
You did.
like 30
She's like,
seconds into
got
this
the
conversation.
Yes.
I just think that it's another one of those things that at the end of the episode, we hear Annie say something like, this is what we got ourselves into to support the husbands.
Right.
And
They lead, we follow, and that's what she said. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I just hope that, so obviously we see it later that Rene does go to Bermuda, but I hope she kind of continues everything because, you know, Scott has set her up an office. Before she leaves, he kind of leaves it up to her and he says, I hope you come.
Yeah,
but at
and
the
here's her
same time,
tickets.
it is like an ultimatum at the same time. I mean, he's not like, oh, if you don't come, I'll divorce you or anything.
Right.
But virtually, I feel like he's kind of being like, you gotta come. So I still hope that she, like you said, he buys her the tickets.
Yeah, you buy the tickets, yeah.
So I hope that she still continues or actually really like works toward what she really wants to do.
How in that time, how realistic is it to maintain a long distance relationship like that? Like you don't have like, you know, like texting and like,
Skype,
you know what I mean? You have Skype. You
And
never
even
know
that's
what they're
hard
doing.
these days, right?
Yeah,
Gotta like send a pigeon or something.
Nah.
Telegram.
she
Telegram. They had telephones.
Well, it's international. I don't know.
It probably was really expensive, though.
Yeah, right?
sure.
That's how I'm thinking.
Definitely. But so she moves there. He has her the office. He says, you know, like hopefully you can find your place here, even though she seems a little discouraged by it still, but she stands by her man.
Yeah.
It was really tough for me to see the portion in the hallway before this when they find out John and Annie have just talked and Annie walks back out and says, it's more serious, campaign's over, and Rene kind of is like, Well, no, we can still keep it going for him.
Well, she's just, piggybacking for her own reasons. She's not really necessarily concerned about his career.
Yeah.
And little Annie's
I felt bad
like,
for her.
Yeah.
She's like, you can get back on with your life now.
Yeah, she's like, this is our life.
Yeah,
You need
she
to
did say
live
that.
yours.
Peace.
Yeah.
But Annie is kind of really worried later when she's talking to John, like, okay, so what are we going to do now? You're no longer an astronaut. You're not a senator. So what are you? And I can only imagine the stress that comes from that type of situation.
They can go to Bermuda with the rest of them.
Yeah,
They
right?
could.
Very true.
Bermuda's lovely.
Yeah.
I say we all pack up. Let's go right now.
Let's go.
100%. So to me in that scene, there was a part of me that saw like, okay, so John tells her about all these opportunities. People are constantly approaching me for things. Something about a job at RC Cola, which I thought was really cool. But I'm also like, Annie, she relies on him so much, and to see her, of course she does. He is her source of everything, and vice versa. She supports him, and, he really couldn't do it without her. So I hope that, I don't know. I hope everything works out for him.
Yeah, we can say that about everyone.
We'll find out.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I feel like that was kind of the gist of their lovely storylines tonight. But Betty and Gus, we see a lot from because, for reasons that we'll discuss in a little bit, we see Gus, he's gonna go up into space again. And Gus is the designer, or no, not designer of the rockets, but he's something with the Gemini. Like, he's in charge of design, helping them.
Gusmobile.
He's an engineer, yeah.
Right.
The Gusmobile, is that what you said?
That's what they call it.
Yeah, the Gusmobile.
So he thinks he's just like helping out, and no one can see the machine without like Gus being there, can do anything to it. But while all of this is going on, Gus has developed a little stalker.
Stalker much.
Yeah. Full stand.
Full stand.
Yeah.
She sends a letter to Betty, which I would have reacted much like more intensely about, I feel like, than they did. I mean, she was pretty crazy about it, I guess.
upset, I think.
Yeah.
But so she gets this anonymous letter that's like, you're a terrible wife. You treat Gus bad. I forgot what it said, but something like that. She has no idea who sends it to her.
I love moments like that because it's like, that still happens today.
Yeah.
Happens today.
But not from a typewriter. It's
Exactly.
it's like more of like a
Pasted
DM.
magazine.
Yeah. I see stuff like that. I'm like, okay, cool. It still goes on. I mean, no, I don't get any letters like that. I'm just saying.
You got
Do you send them?
Have you guys got
Do you
it? No, I don't send them. No.
Oh,
No, I promise.
Cross your fingers right
I
now.
know.
But so she tells Gus about it. She's really concerned, and he
He just says he's like the Beatles.
Right. Oh, yeah, because he's so cool. He says it's a fan. But, so they set up a secret service agent, I guess, to watch him and to watch her.
Because she shows up at the...
Right, and he doesn't tell. Oh, yeah, she showed up.
Yeah.
Where were they at?
She
Just,
shows
like,
up
NASA.
at NASA, at the
Right.
job, trying to get in.
And she
at
says
the front
that
gate.
she's
Yeah.
his
That's the
wife.
stands. Let's do that.
At the security gate, she says she's his wife, and that's why he even comes, thinking it's Betty.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
ends up being
The other-
her.
Right.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't know who Betty was at that point. But so I'm thinking throughout this whole thing, because Gus says something that kind of leads me to believe that, like, oh, this is just, or someone talking to Gus about it leads me to believe that this is just a lady who like met him and is super crazy about him.
I think, well, didn't he like cheat on Betty with her, and now she's like all attached?
He did, but at first I thought he was saying that he
didn't.
didn't cheat.
Oh.
But then obviously we learned that he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I might have missed that sentence.
Hey, groupie
in the
love, it'll
beginning.
get you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Gus cheated with the stalker chick.
Okay, you don't think
Yeah, I
that?
don't
Like
think
even
so
like
either.
even in the
I don't
beginning
think
of the
so either.
season when they were all like, with other women.
No, right,
At the
because,
pool.
oh my God, I forgot his name. He's the head astronaut. Alan.
Okay.
They're walking down the hall in that scene, and he says, of all the cookies that were up at the Cape, you didn't once take a bite.
Oh.
And now you've got this
So
stalker.
We call them
how does he know
cookies.
her?
Apparently.
Yes, we do.
Cape cookies.
Cape
everywhere.
cookies. Yes.
Yummy, yummy.
I remember that. You're right.
I guess I thought he did because he she was like, I'm not Louise, and he never really said to Betty that he didn't.
Right. He never really cleared that up, especially when she was like, oh, so you know her, and kind of that just assumption was there.
And also she made that comment that was, I'm not Louise. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to put up with this and be
deal
silent.
with this. Yeah. So that's a little interesting, right?
Yeah. That's
maybe
what
it
made
was
me
from
think
like a past relationship or something.
Yeah.
Like from...
I don't know. That
shit
looks. It seemed like, I don't know. I don't feel like Gus cheated.
I don't think so either.
Well, that makes me feel better that he said that. I missed that part.
Maybe in the 60s they had a different definition of cheating.
That's true. Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
You can get away with a lot more nowadays.
Can
I
you?
would think. So I've heard.
Well, you just need to stop. Stop talking.
But
what are you getting away with?
No, wait. Why is it always turned on me?
I just feel like we need to know about you.
Because you're like, people still do that today.
Well,
They still write letters. They get away a lot.
They still write letters. You got the post office still in service.
Go to space. Just kidding. Me too. But so I think the biggest kind of mistake that Gus made in that situation, though, was not telling Betty about it, which I know he didn't want her to be worried about the Secret Service.
Right.
So she sees these people, they're at a dinner where Alan's making a speech, and she's like, I'm getting to the bottom of this, and walks over there and talks to them, and that's how she finds out that this is serious enough for a Secret Service agent to be following them.
Right.
Probably not the best idea to admit that, but I mean, she's really angry. She's really upset about it, understandably. I mean, but then if it is just like a crazed fan who met him and she's whatever, then I feel like Betty shouldn't be as mad. But I guess she doesn't know.
I don't know. Well, she said he didn't deny when she said that he knew her
he didn't
from some other time.
And no woman likes to see another woman with their man. So.
Ever.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, Khalil.
Ever.
Very true.
I'm sorry. No. I'm just getting it tonight. What did I do? I wore a tie.
You're representing all of it. Sorry, we're letting all of our anger out for you.
Clearly.
I wore a tie.
We're tie. Keeping it classy.
Always. So Gus, in kind of the middle of all this, when he's at NASA, I guess, or their office headquarters. This is when we see your character again, Antoinette, and or in this episode, and so we have this Captain Dwight, and he thinks that by Gus calling him into the office, that maybe he's going to get the chance to be an astronaut, because at this point they know John's out, not because of the injury, but because he's running for senator at this point, and they're looking kind of for like the next John, and that's what I thought. Oh, surely, just I guess it was the context, obviously, but really they just brought him in to mentor your son,
basically mentor my son,
and that's a little disheartening for us, or for me anyway. I guess I'll just speak for myself, because we talk a lot about seeing women in space and how much Trudy has wanted it.
They touched on that quite a bit the last episode, which was really awesome.
And I mean, we kind of forget that. I mean, I don't want to say we forget, but this hasn't been a topic as far as like an African American being in space. We've only seen obviously all the Gemini and the rest of the guys. So I don't know. I guess I should probably research more of that in history, but I want to know, like, at this point, like, how long it did take for someone who wasn't white to go into space. You know what I mean?
It was some years. It was quite some years. And Captain Shepard, I want to say, went up. And then afterwards became, because he's like this math science genius guy, but I want to say he became an artist, like a sculpture artist, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool. Yeah.
What more in this kind of, or what more will we see from your character this season, without like giving away any spoilers, of course, but
that's tough.
Or is it just like you touch further on this topic kind of thing?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
A little bit, and then a little bit of Xavier being involved, or rather his involvement in the sort of civil rights movement, that type of thing. But yeah, I don't know what I can say. Isn't that weird?
I know, yeah.
Because they make you sign NDAs and stuff, and then I'm like, I can't get sued because they don't get anything. You know,
here. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just kidding.
We're all friends here.
No, but it's
secret.
It's the development of all those stories. You know what I mean? It's the progression of those sort of plot points. You know.
So we definitely will be seeing more of Captain Dwight. Right?
A little bit, yeah.
So he's kind of beautiful.
I mean,
he's walking down that hallway, and I was like, oh.
That's putting it mildly. He's such a great guy.
Really?
He's a really, really nice guy. We got to hang out in New Orleans a little bit, and I showed him the city a little bit. We went and listened to some music and had some beignets and did like the touristy stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was, rated PG. Nothing happened. It's not that kind of party.
Are you sure?
I would have remembered Ray Fisher. I'm just saying. He's so good looking. But he's, salt of the earth. Really, really nice guy. Yeah. Lives in New York. Yeah, New York. Yeah.
Okay. And was this entire show filmed in New Orleans?
It was. The vast majority of it was, I'd say 2/3 of it. That's where I did. That's where I shot all mine.
Yeah.
Well, that must have been nice to be back home.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's the best thing in the world.
So are you LA based?
Yeah, I am now.
So that's awesome.
I just moved here.
Oh, well, welcome.
How are you liking it?
Alan. I like LA very much. I'm not going to lie to you, though. It was a tougher transition than it was for me when I moved to New York, and it was also a tougher transition than when I moved to Valencia, California for grad school. I went to Cal Arts.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so those transitions were more immediate, and it was just like, okay, you're going into the deep end, so just swim.
Yeah.
And this was a little bit more concentrated and thought out, because last year my goal was to have work bring me here, and it did. I got to work on Togetherness, an HBO show, second season, and then also The Hateful Eight brought me here. So then I was like, okay, I get it. I should be here. Yeah. So my opportunities seem to be here.
Right.
So.
Good.
But it's been good. I'm finally seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. I just signed a lease.
Oh, good.
So I got a great place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Most of the battle out here is.
Oh my gosh,
I
it
need
was
a roommate
crazy.
still.
You started.
I didn't mean to stress you out. I'm sorry. It's okay.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, the first 2 years are the hardest.
Are they?
I hear. Just past that.
I'm almost
Milestone.
there.
No.
Yeah.
But it gets easier.
better.
The traffic does not get.
The traffic does not change.
That's what I
Nothing's happening
hear.
with that.
Just gotta avoid the times. We'll give you some more tips off air too.
Okay. For sure. Yeah, not to be cliche, but I can't lie to you. The weather's just.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Can't
It's
complain.
ridiculous.
No, it's pretty crazy.
It did change my hair though.
You're going to get spoiled like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I need to be spoiled.
Yeah, especially going back to New Orleans after living here, you're gonna
totally forget what humidity
I
is.
fly in tomorrow afternoon, and I already know as soon as I walk out, it's gonna be like sweat, and it'll be like my hair will be like this,
Right.
and I'm gonna be like, yes, home, yeah.
There's no reason to do your hair during the summer anywhere in the
Ever,
South.
anywhere, ever, right? Yeah.
So Astronauts Wives Club. No, sorry. So kind of I don't want to say biggest storyline of tonight was Louise and Alan, because it kind of affected everyone, or most everyone, I would say. So Alan is the one who's supposed to be on this next flight, the first manned flight in space. It's going to be it's supposed to be him and one of the Gemini. I think his name was John Young, I think. And last week, I don't know where I got this from, but we always do predictions at the end of the show, and I'm like, he has cancer.
Yeah, you said cancer.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
You?
I thought they said cancer in the clearly I had that very much so wrong. But we see him. Where do we first see him? Kind of feeling the symptoms.
He was home. I want to say he was home.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes.
They had just finished playing golf.
Yeah.
I believe it was. Yeah.
And he kind of literally like falls out on the floor. They're doing like dizzy, the cameras, making it show that he's dizzy. And this is kind of how we learn that he has, I don't know the name of the condition, but some sort of serious like inner ear condition.
Yeah.
And they take him,
That's not curable.
right,
either.
that's not curable. And before all of this happens, we see them walking right in from the golf trip, and they're kind of flirty and like being cute with one another.
No, they're finally like there a little bit, you know.
And then
poor Louise just
every turn.
every
turn.
Maybe it'll get better, I hope. But so he goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells him, like, this isn't just vertigo, this is this condition, and that it's serious. And he is gonna try and hide this. And Louise is on his team and is gonna, like, says, you can do this. He even says, you know, like, when have I ever failed before? And she has every reason to believe in him, of course. He's her husband, and look at what he has done. He's the first man in space, first American man in space. And so they're at this banquet where I think they're talking about the new rocket that that he's supposed to fly in. And he's making this big speech, and you kind of see him just start wavering and just ends up falling out. Right. And that's kind of, you know right then that that's the end of his career right there.
Yeah, because everyone is witnessing it.
Yeah.
And he can't hide it anymore.
Cat's out of the bag,
Yeah.
so to speak.
It's tough to see him kind of going through that because he is such a strong character. I mean, for me, he's a strong character in the wrong ways, as far as like, oh, I'm gonna do what I want with all these women, but you know, it's tough to see him because that's what he is an astronaut, and he like gets into a fight later in the episode because someone says something about him just being an astronaut. I forgot exactly what he said.
Those guys in the alley,
they thought he was uppity. They thought he was being bougie. He didn't want to sit down and have a drink with him. So I wanted him to whoop his ass. Like I wanted them but he lost. He lost. As soon as he did the headbutt, I was like, get him. All three of them. Let's go. Yeah. What are you gonna do? And he failed.
He was drunk and he's sick.
He was sick.
Right,
he was sick. So I mean, it's cool. You know, you're sick. I get it. That's why you lost. But
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you guys have like a moment like when he was like getting sick or whatever?
They
and
did.
No. I mean, I didn't get to it. Like, where you just like, is this karma coming back around? Like you cheated on your wife and put her through all this mess. I thought you were talking about
like, their reaction.
Oh yeah,
no.
They're like,
yeah, they had doing the most.
No, that's
doing
not good.
the most.
I thought that was so funny. It was great. It was really sweet. It's like, guys, he's not gonna die. It's okay.
Well, you never know.
No, it's true. You never know. It's totally true.
Says, too. She's like, you could die.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just kind of.
That's also his response to that when she said you could die. His response was, I could die anytime.
I mean,
that's just like really mean to say to your wife. You know
it's really
what I mean?
true, though.
I was going to say that, like, he's an astronaut. Anything could happen at any time.
Yeah, but way to be reassuring, Alan.
Is Alan the most reassuring
most supportive person?
I don't think so.
He's not really reassuring for much.
No, not at all. But so they obviously have to take away the flight from him because he cannot fly.
Right.
And
but
later
he can still do stuff.
Well,
of
course,
NASA.
yeah. We see
the world
him.
is not over.
No.
We see him in the control room, whatever you would call it, while
real
Gus
salty.
is
the
in the
headset
air.
on, yeah.
Looking real salty.
And he did not look happy about that.
He did.
And Louise says at one point, or this is when I think they walked out of the doctor or walked out of somewhere, and he says, I'm sorry, he's like, I'm not an astronaut anymore. I can't fly a plane. I can never fly Trudy's plane and do all of this stuff. So for him, what he like really loves is over, but there are ways for him to be involved. I just don't know if that's going to be good enough for him.
In the control room.
Yeah. We'll see. But part of him, so the night that he gets into this fight, he I was about to call her Betty. Louise calls Marge to come and kind of help out because, which
was so sweet of her, right?
It was so sweet.
I love her.
We call her Saucy Marge.
She's the best.
She's just saucy. In a good way.
Saucy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Can I just share this really quick?
Go for it.
Share everything.
Not the last episode. Share everything.
I want to know everything.
Not the last episode, but the one before. There was this one little moment that I just think speaks so specifically at the period, and it was a choice she made as an actor. She picked up the phone and she took her earring off to speak, and I was just like, I love those little nuances. I love those little, like, because when do you ever, who wears clip-ons?
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just like, hello.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this woman.
I have that same problem.
Do you?
From time to
I'm gonna
time.
do that before I put these headphones on.
I know. I was going to say my earrings are killing me.
Take my earrings.
They're rough. But so she's really sweet to Louise and helps out Alan, and he struggles up the stairs. But it's clear that he's gonna have some issues with this. But I liked seeing that their kind of their friendship is forming. Later at the launch party, they walk up to one another. She walks up to Louise, and Louise just kind of says, this is gonna be really tough. I don't know what it's gonna be like. And I hope to see them bond more throughout the rest of the season.
Right, because she can find solace in her because her husband was grounded even before him. So yeah.
And it's just we talk about how we've seen such little emotion from Louise because she's been the
Ice Queen.
She's the Ice Queen, yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see her in a position that's not top dog because her husband was the first to go and
it'll be a transition.
They're the best couple or whatever. So now it's going to be
no, just one thing. I think it will be because he's done.
I think that was me. Right?
He's not an astronaut. You said that to freak us out. But I liked seeing. So last week we got to see the feisty side of Louise and show some emotion, but tonight we get to see the the raw emotion and how just kind of upset she is. And I'm glad that they showed that aspect of her.
Yeah, I agree.
So she slowly melting the queen, right? Yeah. That's kind of what else about tonight's episode. One thing that I thought about throughout the whole thing is the Mercury men are dropping like flies. So we don't have John anymore. We don't have Alan anymore. We don't have Scott anymore. Who else do we not? We don't have Deke anymore. So there are 7 of them, I think.
Yeah.
So now we
7.
have 3 left. So are we going to see more of the Geminis?
Maybe.
Possibly.
My lips are sealed.
My lips are sealed.
Well, I really love tonight's episode, and I love kind of everything that your character is introducing / that we will be talking about, that stuff. Yeah. So what is something has been your favorite moment to kind of, or of the season so far? I was going to say the film, but I guess we can't talk about more spoilers, but of the season so far.
Or even just your favorite moment while filming, if you can share,
Yeah, of course.
Sorts of things.
I would say, in general, the cast and crew they were just rock stars. They're really great people, extraordinary to work with. And there were a couple of times we had some really late nights, and people get...
Yeah, you were saying you had a 2 a.m. call time.
There was one point where I had a 12:30 a.m. call time and report to set at 2 a.m.
Right.
So I was literally, and it's actually on my Instagram, there's this picture of me in the makeup chair getting makeup applied at 1 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and I have no complaints. I love what I do. I'm super blessed. I would do it again every night. But the folks are really amazing. Like I'd mentioned earlier, Joanna and Joel were just extraordinary to work with. So were the young men that played my sons, and of course Ray Fisher. Set design was amazing. I mean, the crew, everybody, all across the board, all departments. And Stephanie Savage is really cool. Yeah, she's kind of a rock star. I love just shooting a breeze with her. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I will tell you. Oh, should I say that?
Say it.
One of my favorite, I'm not admitting to anything, because no, but I will tell you, spending time with Ray that day on set was a lot of fun. It was, because he's just so good looking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad day at work to stare in this guy's eyes, you know what I mean? So no, and he's also, we just, had a great chemistry. It was great to work with. It was fun. It was fun. Work was fun that day.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
So you also, you went to an art school.
I did.
What is kind of up next for you? We've seen you in Django Unchained. No, I want to hear about that. Was that crazy, being on that set?
My mom still calls it the Django. She just can't get it right. She just can't get it right. I don't know why.
Your character was in some crazy scenes too, like the one in the
kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Carrie and Sam. Django Unchained, up until that point in my life, was the most extraordinary thing I'd ever done. When I was in the room with Quentin for my audition, I didn't. It's not. Of course, the ultimate goal is to always book. You know what I mean, as an actor, but. In my mind, I had already won. Just
being in that room, right?
Mean, come on, getting to spend like 30 minutes with this guy, 40 minutes, however long it was like enough for me. I left super proud, and I stood behind the work I did, and I was just like excited that I learned something. Right. Most importantly, I learned something, and then I got the call like 2 weeks later that I'd booked the role of Cora, and I was with my best friend at the time, and we were at our house, and the first thing I did was I got the call, and the next thing I did was I put the phone down, and I just kind of got on my knees, and I just said a quiet little prayer, and then I jumped up, and I told her we were jumping on the couches and like doing backflips. We were screaming. We were like literally like our hair was coming out of our heads. We lost our minds, and she was like, "Where's the champagne? It was nuts, Yeah. So, and I never thought originally it was supposed to be, I think, 4 weeks of work, and it turned into 3 months. So he just kept adding me to things, and baby, let's do this, or let's try that, or let's maybe do this, and it was just like kind of whatever he would throw at me, I'd be like, yes, let's go. What are we doing? What's next?
Right.
That's amazing.
It was an extraordinary experience. And then we were we shot on a functioning plantation that was producing sugarcane, and it was it's so bad for you, but it's so good. Everything. But these were actually like legit old school dated plantations, which was, pretty remarkable to be able to work on because of the content of what we were shooting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so, which is always, it's a sensitive subject and it's touchy, but I feel like if you're going to tell a story, tell it honestly and be truthful.
And that was one of the most raw and toughest movies that I've ever seen.
A lot of people were like, it was great. I'm glad you're in it. I cannot watch it again.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about 12 Years, though. I couldn't watch 12 Years a Slave again. It was a brilliant film. The performances were unbelievable. Right. I could not watch it again, though.
Right.
Because it has an effect on you,
Yeah.
But no, Django Unchained was really
an amazing cast and one of group of people.
I'll tell you a little story that I told Quentin recently, actually. When we wrapped on Django, the last day, I just literally just wept. I had written him this song, and I kind of not pitched him on the song, but I was like, "Hon, I wrote this song for you, and like if you even just listen to it, I mean, whatever. But I would be so honored,
That's awesome.
And so he loved it, and we shot it. It was like I wrote an old school spiritual for the funeral of Calvin Candy, which was Leonardo DiCaprio's character.
Right.
We shot it. It ended up on the cutting room floor, but I was honored that it happened.
Right. That's amazing.
That was the last day I shot with them. And I got ushered into a transport van, and we were heading back to the studios and back to set, because we were on location for that point. And I literally just sobbed the whole ride back, to the point where it was a van full of people, and I made them all uncomfortable. I was like, and the driver was she was just handing me like, she was like, here, baby. She's just handing me, it's all right. She's just handing me like Kleenex, and I was just sobbing. And the reason why I was so upset was because it was joy, because it's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing as it relates to my career that has ever happened in my life.
Right.
And then what made me profoundly sad was, oh my God, what is ever going to top this experience? And then I told Quentin this 3 days before I wrapped on The Hateful Eight. I told him this story, and I said, and then baby, you called me for this. Like, oh my God, you know? So, and then, you know, it was another little moving moment. So
that's amazing.
I feel very, very, very fortunate.
Well,
very
you are
fortunate.
amazing. I know it will keep going up. For sure. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Not that you can't necessarily join us in on this part, but you can, actually. Let's talk about predictions for the rest of the season. We have 4 more episodes left.
She got scared just now.
Did you see that? I was like, what?
What is that?
No, I rebuke this. I was like, no.
I've been here for a long time, and I still get like,
is it still scary?
Yeah, I'm just like, what is
it's the lights.
New Orleans, they have the
we do
voodoo.
not play in New Orleans.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's just
That's a lot of them.
those lights just put me on edge.
No.
So anything that happens.
There are properties in New Orleans that have to report whether or not they're haunted. They have it on like the for sale
What?
I went
signs.
on the
Yeah,
haunted
they'll be
tour in
underneath.
New
They'll say
Orleans.
haunted or it'll say not haunted.
I've been on a haunted tour.
Wait, so when we go to New
It's
Orleans,
free.
we gotta do
so
that.
when you take us to New
Come
Orleans,
on.
Yeah.
You guys can
It's
stay
the
with
best.
me. It'll be fun.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll go last. How about that? Because I don't know
Khalil
what I
can
want
go
to say
first.
yet.
Wait,
Yeah.
what are we predicting?
So we were
What will happen next?
What will happen in the next episode, or in the just any of the future episodes?
Yes.
So by the end of the season,
It's tough for this show for predictions because
it's real.
It is real.
So
Yeah, and you can research.
Right.
Yeah.
But you want to be. You don't.
Yeah.
we want to know the
We don't know every little thing about it,
got
like
a
John
huge-
falling in the bathtub.
I think
the
that
stand thing.
I think
Yeah.
that Rene will for sure either move back to Houston or just go back and forth.
Yeah, she's
But
gonna pursue her own thing.
I think there's big things in store for
She's
Rene,
definitely gonna
for
have a
sure.
power move coming up soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I think she should run for president.
Right,
I know that doesn't happen. Unless she's Hillary Clinton in real life.
It's very possible. What do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think the same thing. I think that Rene will definitely, obviously she loves Scott, she wants to be with him, but really kind of what can you do in Bermuda for the kind of career that she wants to do?
She can't write a blog. See, I'm telling you guys, technology, she's in the wrong era.
I do think she's going to continue writing, though.
Yeah.
I don't know that historically, but it just feels like that's the direction she's going to go in.
I think so too. I think that Louise is going to take everything really, really hard. And I think that, this isn't necessarily a prediction. I think we're going to meet a lot of new Gemini wives because we've lost so many of our Mercury men. They're definitely still on the show. So we know that they're in there. But I guess I don't know how they're going to end the season because we talked about earlier, this show is meant to be a one season thing. And of course you never know with this type of thing, but I just wonder what they'll end it on, I guess.
Right. I don't
Who
know.
knows? You got anything?
I don't. I'm interested about this. Like we saw in the previews, the astronaut wives start making demands now.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about that episode. Me too.
They need to, though. They're figures, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what we'll say.
Okay.
It's so interesting too because you would think I knew all the plot points and everything, but I don't because I was only privy to the scripts of the episodes that I was in.
Right.
So there's a lot of holes for me.
Yeah.
And so tonight I was watching, like, oh, that makes sense. Like, oh yeah. So I'm excited about next week's episode.
Me too, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I've had such a good time.
Me
And I'm
too.
so excited to see what's next for you. What is next for you?
What is next? The Hateful Eight will be released on Christmas Day.
That'll probably be my family movie. We go see her at Christmas.
Please do. Please, everyone, go see it. And a Jeff Nichols film called Midnight Special will be released soon, along with The Runner, a Nicolas Cage film, and Kidnapped with Halle Berry.
Hey.
So,
Love
yeah,
me some
she's
Halle.
extraordinary.
That's awesome.
She's great.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
where can everyone find you? Social media stuff.
It's just my name. So all my handles are at Dana Gourrier. So DanaGourrier. Dana Gourrier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April with some hand.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Khalil Bubu, and sometimes on her Twitter, commenting under every picture.
And you can find me at Sterling Cateson, also on the Mistresses After Show coming up right after this.
Yeah, I'll be there with her. As always, you can follow us all at AfterBuzz TV. Download, subscribe, comment. We love hearing everything that you have to say about this show. Can't wait to see you next week.
So.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.